Assalamualaikum. We are moving on to the next part of the hip bone lecture, that is the ilium part of the hip bone. So, let us talk about it. As you remember from the last, it is the upper expanded portion of the hip bone. So, we will figure it out what are the different parts of it. So, as you can see here, this is a very big large bone, is an expanded upper part, and the lower part ends up fusing with the pubic bone in front and ischium bone in the back, and these are fusions, these are at the level of acetabulum. So you don't actually see very clearly where the in adult bone you don't very clearly see where they fuse with one another. However, in the front you get this raised area iliopubic eminence that gives you an idea. So this is that. So it has two surfaces, three surfaces rather, three borders, an iliac crest, and different things. So let me shift to this view to show you. So let us talk about its upper end. The lower margin was very much mixed, fused with the pubic bone in front here, pubic bone in front and ischium behind, so you don't get any actual demarcation in the fused bones. In the upper end, you get this thickened portion from all the way back to front or front to back, for however like you to see it. And this anterior end, this is called anterior spheric iliac spine. This posterior end is called posterior spheric iliac spine. And everything between them, in between. So this whole lip, whole expanded portion, this whole thing is called iliac crest. This whole thing is called iliac crest. So this is the iliac crest. Then we have its three borders. We have its anterior border, that is in the front. Okay, so the three borders are this anterior border, the one running all the way from anterior spheric iliac spine down to the acetabulum. Then there is this medial border, the one that is running from the about 5 centimeter from front of the posterior spheric iliac spine all the way down to the iliopubic eminence. It is dividing the two surfaces. And then on the other side, on the back you get the posterior border, this one. This is the posterior border going down from the posterior superior iliac spine. In the anterior spheric iliac spine, here on these borders you get two important landmarks. This raised area, this is called anterior superior iliac spine, and then there is this raised area, this is called anterior inferior iliac spine. They will be a little more prominent in this view. So this will be the anterior superior iliac spine, and this one will be the anterior inferior iliac spine. On the back, if you see, here is the posterior superior iliac spine, and here below it at this point you will see posterior inferior iliac spine. So these are the borders, and then we are left with the three surfaces. The surface that is on the outside is called the gluteal surface. The surface that is on the inside end is concave and it's smooth. This one is the iliac surface or iliac fossa, and this part that is further divided into three parts, this is the third part, that is called the sacropelvic surface, because it has the further these three parts. It has this part that is called the this iliac tuberosity, that is going to give attachment to the ligaments that are going to attach to the sacrum. This is the articular surface, this whole part. This is the one that is going to make the joint with the ilium, and then there is the pelvic part that is below it. So these are the different surfaces of the ilium. So iliac crest, we have talked about it. Let's talk more about the iliac crest and its structures. So iliac crest is the upper part. It has two curvatures. We can see it in two different directions. When we can see from the side, it in the above direction, it has convexity above. It is convex above and concave below. So it is convex above and concave below. When we look at it from the top, you get a very distinct S-shape arrangement, and you get very distinct this S-shape arrangement. And as you can see in that, it has divided into anterior 2/3 and posterior 1/3. And in the anterior 2/3, it is convex outside and concave inside, and on the posterior 1/3 it is convex inside and concave inside. To be very clear, this is anterior, this is posterior, this is medial inside, and this is the lateral side. So this is the lateral, medial, anterior and posterior, and you will see convex in the anterior 2/3 it is convex out and concave in, and the posterior 1/3 it is convex in and concave out. So this is it, and these two parts, and just look at these three. And if we look at it a little deeper, so let us zoom in here a little. If we can look at the anterior 2/3, it has a very typical arrangement of a sharp outer border, as you can see here, a sharp inner border, as you can see here. These are called outer and inner lips. These are called inner and outer lips, and in between them, this whole area, this is the intermediate area. So you have the outer lips, inner lips, and the intermediate areas, and then you have this posterior 1/3. And as you can see, posterior 1/3, let's zoom out a little, it's too much in the face. And if you can see in this part, you get this a little raised area in the center, and you get slope on this direction and slope in this direction, rather than the two lip structure that you saw there. And before we go into that, let's do one more thing. Iliac tubercle and highest point of iliac crest. These are the three things that I wanted to see. If you can see here, and you will see a prominence, a dent right over here, and this is the part, if you look at from the above to, this is prominent and this is going out. So this basic part, this extension, this raise, this is called the iliac tuberosity. This is about 4 or 5 centimeters behind the anterior spheric iliac spine. Then we will talk about the highest point of the iliac crest. Let us get the whole lower limb view here, and if you get the lower limb view like this, and you will see, and if you look from the back, so the highest point, this highest point of this iliac crest that you can feel on yourself too, this is a little posterior to this iliac tuberosity, and this is the point, and this point is very important clinically. Why? Because if you see the highest point, and if you draw a horizontal line going from the highest point, so this is the line that is going through lumbar vertebra number 4. This is number 5, this is number 4, and this is number 3. So why is this important? Because this is the point where we will get to identify the lumbar. This is how we will identify the lumbar vertebra number 4. Just draw a horizontal line from the highest point, and then from onwards we can see the L3 above, L5 below, and get a needle inserted from spinal tap between them. So this is the importance of that. So we are again back on the hip, and just now let's look at the borders now in a little more detail. So this was the anterior border like here, and anterior border started with the anterior spheric iliac spine, and then there is a concavity, a notch here, and then this notch brings it to this point, that is called the anterior inferior iliac spine, and then we get this relatively open or expanded part that is just above the this acetabulum. If we look at the posterior border, you get a similar arrangement. You get this posterior superior iliac spine right here, and it goes back little notches here. Then you get posterior inferior iliac spine, and then this big notch like this part is here. This is called the greater sciatic notch, and this greater sciatic notch all the way to the apex of the greater sciatic notch, and somewhere in between the this raised part is ischial spine. So a little beyond the greater sciatic apex notch apex, we get the termination of ilium. You don't have very good uh, bony limb demarcation for figuring this out where it ends, but you get the general idea. Then this is the medial border. So this is the medial border going all the way from here to here. So let us trace that, the medial border. So medial border is on the pelvic surface or inner surface, and it is going to separate this forward iliac fossa from the sacroiliac surface. And if you follow it down, and this also makes the arcuate line. So this part, especially this part, this is called the arcuate line, and so this is going to make the pelvic inlet and the borders of the pelvic inlet, and we will see it in when we will see pelvis at the whole. We will see that in the lectures on the pelvis. You can move to those lectures if that's your target. So that's that, and you get here a medial border, and it so that's that. Then the medial surface, this is the iliac surface, iliac fossa. It has no prominent thing in here, and it is on the inner surface behind the anterior border in front of the medial border. It's concave, as you can see, concavity is there and no other prominent feature is there. You do get this tuberosity, we will see it later. Then let's talk about the sacropelvic surface, that is the one that is seen here. Sacropelvic surface is the uneven area behind the medial border in front of the posterior border, and it is having three parts. This part, this raised part, this is called the iliac tuberosity, and below it, this part is called the articular surface that is going to make the joint, and below it, this whole area, this area up to here, this is the pelvic surface. So this is the pelvic surface. So this is the pelvic surface that is smooth. So, and it is going to make up the upper border of the greater sciatic notch and other things that we can discuss here. So that said, then that leaves us with the outer surface, that is the gluteal surface. And the gluteal surface, as you can see, you can trace out these three lines, the one that is here, the one that is going here, and the one that is here. So these three lines, this one, and this one. So these are called gluteal lines. So these are called gluteal lines. So these are three in number. This will be the inferior gluteal line, this will be the middle gluteal line, and this will be the posterior gluteal line. They will come very handy, and they are basically caused due to the pull of the gluteus muscles that are attached here. We will shortly see them in the attachment parts of our lecture. So these are three. So let's trace these lines a little more closely. So these are the gluteal lines. Let's see the posterior gluteal line first. So here is the posterior gluteal line, and the posterior gluteal line, it starts about 4 or 5 centimeter in front of the posterior spheric iliac spine, go down, and it ends at the upper surface of the upper margin of the greater sciatic notch. The middle gluteal line, or and sometimes also called anterior gluteal line or middle gluteal line. The anterior gluteal line, and this is the inferior, anterior, posterior, and inferior gluteal line, sometimes also called middle. The anterior gluteal line is the longest. It starts about the same distance behind, 4 to 5 centimeters behind the anterior spheric iliac spine, goes back, goes down, and more or less ends here at the middle of the upper border of the greater sciatic notch. So it ends more or less here. Then there is inferior gluteal line. It starts inferior gluteal line, it starts a little above, most ill-defined, a little above and behind this. Do you remember what it was? The anterior spheric iliac spine, and it runs back and all the way. It sometimes fades like it is shown, and sometimes it can go all the way to the apex. Otherwise it's ill-defined and maybe it fades like here. So that's the anterior gluteal line. So I think that's it. That's the iliac part. We can quickly revise before we move on to our next segment, that is the iliac bone in its attachment. So iliac bone consists of this iliac crest, The lower end is not very well defined, but it ends in the acetabular fossa, joining with the pubis in front and ischium below, behind. It has three borders: the anterior border, the medial border, and the posterior border. And three surfaces: this iliac fossa, this sacropelvic surface, and this the gluteal surface. If we look at them closely, this is the iliac crest. The iliac crest, if you look in this direction, the iliac crest is convex upwards. If we look at it from this side, it is S-shaped. In the anterior two-thirds, it is concave inside, and on the posterior one-third, it is concave outside. Or you can say in the anterior two-thirds, it is convex out, and in the posterior one-third, it is convex in. And if you look at it a little more closely, you can see the anterior two-thirds has this outer lip, inner lip, and the outer lip with this part, the ischial tuberosity here, and the posterior and the intermediate area in between them. The posterior one-third has the slopes like this part. This is the slope on the outside, and here this is the slope on the inside. So here is the slope on the outside, and here is the slope on the inside. So you get this area, and you have this. And if you get it in the anatomical position, as we saw that, like this, and like this here. So this is the one. So as you can see here in the anatomical position, this tuberosity is not the highest point, just behind it this is the highest point. So here is the tuberosity. I know I don't have a green screen, so it will get a little messy, but it's there. So it's there. So iliac fossa, let's about little more detail. The anterior border has anterior spheric iliac spine, the notch here, anterior inferior iliac spine, then a little triangular area up to the acetabulum. The posterior one has posterior spheric iliac spine, a little here and here on the notch here. If you look at the skin of a person, you get a little dimple on the back, just between the at the point of posterior superior iliac spine. I can show you the picture by the end. And then there is iliac fossa, concave, and other things. And then there is this surface, this raised area. This raised area is tuberosity. This one L-shaped area, this is the articular surface, and this area right here, and this is the pelvic surface. So that's it. And gluteal lines, yes, gluteal lines. So in this bone you get the gluteal line, this the gluteal line you can see here, the posterior gluteal line here, the middle gluteal line or anterior gluteal line, it can be seen traced like all the way from here to here, and very ill defined inferior gluteal line, a little visible right here but cannot be traced beyond that. In some bones it will be there, but some it will not be there. So that's about the bony features of the ilium bone. And I think that's it for now for the bony features. You can pause the video here and look at all these notes. This is the picture from the Netter's Atlas. This is all the labelings from the front. And here is a picture from the back, and you do figure out all of these things in these pictures. Ideally you should have an atlas. I will recommend that Netter's Atlas, the thing that got me through my undergrad and my postgraduate. So this is the picture for the posterior one. So thank you so much for listening. Do tune for the next lecture, and that will be the attachments on the ilium, and after that we will move on to the pubic bone. So see you then.